Nadir's life was a labyrinth of emotional torment and physical abuse, a grim maze that eventually brought him to the cold and unforgiving confines of Kot Lakhpat Prison. It was here, within these imposing walls, that our paths converged, in a place where the echoes of shattered lives resounded. Born into a remote and impoverished village nestled amidst the rugged hills of North Pakistan, his life was a world of neglect and hardship. He found himself caught in the relentless cycle of abuse born from the frustrations of his own parents. The icy silence of his home, the clenched fists that marked his existence, all conspired to create a life of pain and misery. His parents used him as a scapegoat for their own frustrations, subjecting him to a relentless torrent of physical and emotional abuse that left scars both seen and unseen. As I spoke with Nadir during our occasional vague conversations within the prison's confines, he shared fragments of his tragic tale. His tale took a sinister turn when rumors began to circulate in his village about his supposed affliction with an evil spirit. The whispers were chilling, tales of nights where Nadir would rise from his sleep, his eyes vacant, his voice foreign. Nadir mentioned that a neighbor recalled witnessing him in one such trance, a night when the village lay shrouded in darkness. As the wind howled through narrow alleyways, the neighbor peered through his window and saw Nadir standing beneath the gnarled branches of an ancient tree. His voice, an eerie whisper on the night's edge, echoed through the stillness as he recited verses from an ancient text no one recognized, his gaze locked onto an unseen presence. And yet these episodes left no trace on Nadir's memory, leaving him trapped in a fog of confusion and fear. In his search for solace, Nadir found himself drawn to the village mosque, hoping to find answers within the folds of religion. Yet this refuge proved to be another source of torment. The religious teacher, far from offering guidance, subjected Nadir to relentless physical and sexual abuse, shattering his faith and furthering his despair. Despite the whispers and his haunting experiences, Nadir remained trapped in this fog, unable to recall the episodes that had become the source of dread within his village. In a desperate bid to escape the relentless torment inflicted by his own family and the unforgiving village life, Nadir embarked on a harrowing journey that brought him to Lahore, a sprawling metropolis. The weight of this decision pressed heavily on his heart as he sought solace and refuge in the unfamiliar cityscape, leaving behind the only life he had ever known. Nadir's life took a dark turn when he was apprehended for begging on the bustling streets of Lahore. During his time in police custody on one fateful night, an inexplicable transformation seemed to grip him, culminating in a violent altercation with the officer in charge. What added to the perplexity of the situation was Nadir's complete lack of memory regarding this brutal incident, as indicated by the official charges against him. However, the irrefutable evidence captured by the CCTV cameras in the police station painted a chilling and undeniable picture. It was this damning footage that ultimately sealed his fate, leading to a sentence that would confine him within the unforgiving walls of Kot Lakhpat jail. This shadow of malevolence, believed to have taken residence within him, cast its pall over his life, becoming a source of dread within the confines of the prison. As I observed Nadir, I was looking at a man breaking down in the grim universe of imprisonment. The harsh realities that encapsulate life behind the chilly steel bars were not just stories too, but a lived reality. The emotional strain that long-term confinement can inflict was clearly visible on him. His days, filled with the most demeaning tasks, and his nights, tormented by a past that haunted his every waking moment. This brutal existence took not only a physical toll, but an emotional one as well. A burden he bore with a resilience that seemed to crack with each passing day. One afternoon as I passed by, I observed Nadir toiling under the scorching sun, the burden of his despair becoming almost unbearable. The weight of his past, the ceaseless abuse he had suffered, and the hopelessness of his situation pressed upon him like an unyielding storm. Sweat poured from his brow, tears streamed down his face, mingling with the dirt and grime, and his breath became shallow and labored. I couldn't bear to see Nadir's spirit on the verge of shattering like fragile glass. With empathy burning in my heart, I approached the duty in charge, a stern and unforgiving figure in the prison hierarchy. Despite the risks of retribution, I pleaded with him to grant Nadir the rest of the day off, to give him a brief respite from the unending torment of his prison life. To my surprise, the duty in charge, touched by Nadir's suffering, or simply out of a rare moment of compassion, allowed him to retreat from his ceaseless labor. However, I noticed that the prison inflicted more than just physical suffering on Nadir. In the dead of night, he would awaken, seemingly in a hypnotic state, and remain seated, his eyes veiled by a blank stare, entirely disconnected from the world around him. Some of the inmates whispered that he might be possessed, sharing stories of eerie and unexplained incidents that transpired during his episodes that he himself had no recollection of. Then, one fateful night, Nadir's world was turned upside down. He faced a brutal and dehumanizing assault. As a group of prisoners sodomized him, something within Nadir snapped. A latent power within him emerged. This power was driven by an inexplicable anger, an emotion so potent that even he couldn't comprehend it. He retaliated, leaving his attackers petrified and in a state of disbelief, beating the entire group within an inch of their lives. When dawn broke, Nadir found himself with no recollection of the intense events from the night before. After his violent outburst, Nadir received a sentence of solitude behind prison walls, designated to Block 5, where he would endure the rest of his sentence. His journey within the prison was defined by torment, inequity, and unyielding violations of human rights. It is a reflection of the dire state of Pakistan's judicial and prison system, a system that had let him down. Nadir's story stands as a stark testament to the deep-rooted injustice and wrongful incarceration that plagues Pakistan's judicial system. Behind those unyielding bars, he battled not only the harsh prison environment, but also the demons of his own past. For me, my release from that wretched prison came a few months later, but the ghosts of that place continued to haunt my nights. A relentless worry lingered in the recesses of my mind, a gnawing torment that revolved around Nadir, the tormented soul whose path had tragically intersected with mine in that grim place of despair. The anguish etched into his face, the unspoken horrors he endured, continue to haunt my waking hours. To this day, the burden of his unresolved fate and the unrelenting spectre of injustice weigh heavily on my conscience, serving as a persistent reminder of the unyielding cruelty of the world I had left behind within those prison walls. Even at this very moment, my heart aches with a burning desire to know the fate that befell Nadir, as his memory lingers, a poignant and unshakable presence in my thoughts. As we conclude Nadir's haunting journey, we can't help but wonder what could have been a better path for him. How can we, as a society, ensure that individuals like Nadir receive the support and care they desperately need, instead of falling through the cracks of an unforgiving system? Let's keep these questions in our hearts as we navigate the complexities of justice and humanity. Thank you for watching AIK Dastaan, where every tale is a testament to the human spirit and every voice resonates with the truth as they perceive it.